Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful day like always. And yes, I am reopening my Kylie Minogue discography series. I recently went on my Kylie Minogue discography journey. I listened to all her albums for the very first time. It was a lot of fun, and I ended that series with Kiss Me Once. And a lot of you wanted me to do a reaction first listen to her Abbey Road Sessions album from 2012. And initially, I wasn't sure if I was going to record this video. I was listening to a lot of Kylie Minogue, and by the time I hit Kiss Me Once, I felt like I needed to step away from Kylie Minogue. It was a lot of Kylie Minogue. I was getting Kylie Minogue fatigue. And I ultimately decided that I wouldn't record a video to her Abbey Road Sessions album. But then I thought about it and you guys convinced me. And you know what? I feel like I owe it to Kylie to finish off her discography by listening to this album. I feel like it's not complete. I feel like I wouldn't be truthful if I said I listened to her whole discography and not have listened to her Abbey Road Sessions. Of course, I was going to listen to it, but I was going to do it off camera. But you know what? I'm gonna do it on camera now. And here we are, 2012, the Abbey Road Sessions. And there are 16 tracks, and these are all of her biggest hits from the last 25 years. So I've heard all these songs before, but they are reworked with an orchestra. They are grand. They are going to be classical. They are composed differently. And I feel like I'm going to be in for a big treat, and I'm very excited for this. So like I said, there are 16 tracks. The album is 56 minutes. And let's just get right into it with track number 1, All the Lovers. One of my favorite Kylie Minogue songs ever, if not my favorite Kylie Minogue song ever.
Dance, it's all I wanna do, so won't you dance? Summer fire, 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 fire. It hurts. All the lovers that have gone before.
Oh, I love it!
Don't be running.
I'm gonna cry.
All the lovers. Can you see that this is going higher, 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 higher? All the lovers that have gone before. Even if it throws you to the fire, 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 fire. All the lovers that have gone before. Just give me a little bit more. Into a copy. All the lovers.
Yes, what is wrong with me? Why did I ever think I wasn't going to record a video to this album, to be listening to and reacting to this album? What is wrong with me? I mean, oh my god, I love it so much. Beautiful, just simply gorgeous. You know, I was getting a little emotional there. It was very beautiful and very touching, and I love this reworking of All the Lovers. It's beautiful. My expectations are now through the roof. They are so high, and I only have optimism now for the rest of this album. Oh my god. Okay, that was just a taste test. That was just a taste test. We still have 15 more of these bangers. Yes, I'm gonna call it a banger. I don't care. I loved it that much. Track number 2 now, On a Night Like This. Oh my god.
Don't say it's like a fantasy. Feels like I've always known. On a night like this, I wanna stay forever. On a night like this, I'm falling. On a night like this, just wanna be together.
Alrighty, and that was track number 2 on A Night Like This. Yes, we are continuing the bop train here. I'm having so much fun. I love these renditions. I love these remixes, these reworkings. They are a lot of fun. And her voice, of course, is beautiful. And it was definitely unexpected, the arrangement. I feel like I'm not gonna know what I'm getting myself into with each of these tracks. I feel like each track is going to be a surprise to me, even though I've heard all these songs before. They sound brand new at the same time. It's like I'm listening to them for the first time all over again. And I'm kind of surprised that more artists haven't done this, haven't reworked some of their classic hits from years past. I feel like it would be really interesting, if, for example, Lady Gaga reworked all her best and greatest hits from the last, 10 years? 10 years plus that she's been in the industry. I think that would be really cool. I think I recall watching a video. I don't know where I watched it, maybe YouTube. I don't know where it was. But I remember Lady Gaga singing a more toned down and classical and reworked version of Bad Romance. And it was absolutely gorgeous. I definitely feel like Lady Gaga should release an Abbey Road Sessions album. But let's keep moving along to track number 3, A Better the Devil You Know.
Say you won't leave me no more. I forgive and forget. If you say you let her go, it's better the devil you know. It's better the devil you know. If you say you love me, oh boy, it's better the devil you know. It's better the devil you know. Darling, it's better the devil you know.
Alrighty, and that was track number 3, A Better the Devil You Know. No words. I'm at a loss for words. This definitely has to be my favorite reworking on the album so far. I loved all 3, All the Lovers, On Night Like This, Better the Devil You Know, but Better the Devil You Know stands out to me, and it's my favorite so far. It's beautiful, yet it's haunting and chilling and soothing and calming all rolled into one. And I love how she flipped the song on its head and turned it into a ballad. And I've always been curious about this as to what my favorite pop songs would sound like as a ballad in terms of the more upbeat ones. What would an upbeat dance pop song sound like as a ballad? And what determines as to whether a particular pop song will be a ballad or an upbeat dance song? I feel like a lot of upbeat dance songs could be a ballad, and what was the deciding factor that made it so and not a ballad? And that's always been in the back of my head. For this song in particular, it does well as an upbeat dance pop song, and it does phenomenal as a more ballad classical song as well. So let's keep moving along to track number 4, Head on Your Heart. Can you even see that? Now you can. Oh my god.
Well, it's one thing to fall in love. Oh, I wanna hear you tell me you don't want my love. Put your hand on your heart and tell me it's all over. Put your hand on your heart, hand on your heart. Do you wanna lose our love together? I won't believe it till you
Alrighty, and that was track number 4, A Hand on Your Heart. I mean, I gotta say it, I definitely prefer this version to the regular original pop version she released on her Enjoy Yourself album from 1989. I wasn't the biggest fan of her Enjoy Yourself album. I remember giving that album 2 thumbs down. And I still kind of stand beside that. And I remember not being the biggest fan of Hand on Your Heart, but this version I feel like is so mature and so elegant. She's grown a lot since that album and her debut album, and I love this version. I love this reworked version of Hand on Your Heart. It's beautiful. I mean, it's classic, it's classical, and I love it. So let's keep moving along to track number 5, I Believe in You.
I don't believe you know me, although you know my name. I don't believe the faults I have are only mine to blame. But I believe in you. I don't believe a masterpiece could ever match your face. The Joker's always smiling, and every hand that's down. I believe in you. Nothing in my world could ever be the same.
Alrighty, and that was track number 5, I Believe in You, and this probably has to be one of my favorite reworkings on the album out of the 5 tracks I've listened to. I feel like there's only so many times I can use the word beautiful and gorgeous in a video. I feel like I'm going to be using those 2 words a lot, and it's going to sound very redundant, but it's true. This was beautiful, it was gorgeous, it was, I mean, I don't know how many times I can praise something, and there's only so many different words I can use to reflect beauty. These reworkings are just, they're tender, they are touching my heart, they are a dream to listen to, they are candy to my ears. Not even candy, it's a whole buffet. It's like Christmas morning. It's like Halloween night, just spilling your contents of chocolate on the floor once you were done trick-or-treating, and you're just looking at all this candy in front of you, you just want to eat it all. I just want to listen to this whole album right now. I don't want to go track by track. I just want to zip through it. I just want it all at once, you know? I just want it all at once. And I'm not a music expert when it comes to this sort of production where there's an orchestra, it's more classical sounding. I'm not a music expert in general. I just tell you what I like and what I don't like. But I don't know how this album would sound to somebody who has never heard a Kylie Minogue song before, let alone any of these songs. So maybe my opinion is biased because I love Kylie Minogue and I love all these songs. So that is why I'm raving over them, even the production. But as to whether somebody who has heard hundreds of classical albums where there is an orchestra, I don't know how this album would come across. But my opinion is it's fantastic so far. So let's move on to track number 6, Come Into My World.
Take these arms that were made for loving, and this heart that will beat for two. I need your love. Come into my world. Take these lips that were made for kissing, and this heart that will see you through. I need your love, like night means morning. Oh, baby, come.
Alrighty, and that was track number 6, Come Into My World. And I enjoyed this reworking a lot, just like all the others. I will say though, this is probably, I don't know if it's my least favorite on the album so far, but I feel like one of them like always has to sit at the bottom, even though I like all of the tracks on an album. Even though if I adore all the tracks on an album, there always has to be a track that sits at the bottom, in my opinion. And so far, out of the 6 tracks I've listened to, this one probably sits at the bottom. That's not to say that I dislike it. I just told you I still enjoy the song thoroughly. But there was something about it that wasn't touching me the same way as the other songs were. Let's move on to track number 7, Finer Feelings.
You can give to me anything. I can still have a true heart with a free mind, a good life. I don't want this life without the finer feelings. It's just sex without the sexual healing. I get passionate just like you. I don't want this life without the finer feelings.
Already, and that was track number 7, Finer Feelings. And in particular, I really like the production on this song. And once again, it's a little haunting and it's beautiful. And once again, I use the word beautiful, like I said before. I mean, I'm going to be using that word a lot in this video. And it's classical, it's classic, and I enjoyed it. So let's move on to track number 8, Confide in Me.
Should I offer some assistance? Problems should be can keep secret and throw away the key. Young and dig or twist, the choice is yours. Hit or miss. What's mine is yours. We all get hurt by love. And you will see what we can be.
Already, and that was track number 8, Confide in Me. Wow, this was definitely interesting. I feel like this is the most interesting reworking on the album so far. I love the part about halfway through where it gets all quiet and she's like, stick or twist, the choice is yours. Oh, I love that part so much. And I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite reworkings on the album so far. I just think it's so different and I really liked it. So let's move on to track number 9, Slow.
Will you be tonight? Got me affected. So darling, dance with me, yeah. Slow. Skip a beat and move with my body, yeah. Slow. I haven't said a thing. Keep the record playing. Skip a beat and move with my body, yeah. Slow.
Already, and that was track number 9, Slow. And this song was taken from her Body Language album, which I wasn't the biggest fan of her A Body Language album. I'm not the biggest fan of one of the singles released from that album, which was Slow. And I like the reworking of this track. It's definitely a track I would listen to again. It's just not one of my favorites. I guess I have a bit of a biased opinion because I wasn't a fan of the album. I wasn't the biggest fan of the song, so that's why I feel like my opinion is biased in saying that it's not one of my favorites on the album, but it's still a really good rendition and reworking of the song. So let's move on to track number 10, The Locomotion. Yes. Alrighty, so that was track number 10, The Locomotion. And as you just saw, I had a lot of fun jamming it to this reworking. And one of the reasons I enjoy it so much is because it is more upbeat. A lot of the tracks I've listened to so far have been more classical, slow, ballad-like, which I love because a lot of these songs, the original versions, were more upbeat and pop-like and dance-like. So it's nice that she is slowing things down with a lot of these tracks. And it's nice to hear a more upbeat song this far into the album. It's nice to kind of, get a jolt of fun once in a while. So that's why I enjoyed it this version. It's not one of my favorite reworkings on the album. I liked it because it was more upbeat, but I don't know how I feel about the reworking. But it was still fun to dance and listen to, and it always will be. So let's move on to track number 11, Can't Get You Out of My Head. I feel like this will be interesting. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so that was track number 11, Can't Get You Out of My Head. And I have to say it, I'm so sorry, guys, but I feel like this reworking wasn't very good. I feel like the whole la 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 la, it didn't work well for a classical production, I feel like, with an orchestra. I feel like it didn't gel well. And the original pop version from her album Fever is far superior. And I didn't really get it. I mean, obviously, this is one of her biggest hits, if not her biggest hit ever. So maybe she felt obligated to have it on this album because it is her medley of greatest hits from the last 25 years or so. But I gotta say, this was a hard pass for me. It was a big miss, and I didn't really like it. It's probably my least favorite reworking on the album. I have to listen to the tracks again for a second time. But from what I remember, I feel like this is probably my least favorite of the album so far. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, maybe my opinion's weird, maybe you guys really like it. I'm sorry if you do. I just didn't. Let's move on to track number 12, Where the Wild Roses Grow. Now, this is a collaboration she did with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds for his Murder Ballads album from 1996. So let's get into it.
They call me the wild rose, for my name was Eliza Day.
From the first day I saw her, I knew she was the one. She
They actually have his voice too.
When he knocked on my door and entered the room, my trembling subsided in his sure embrace. For my name was Eliza Day.
On the second day I brought her a flower, and I said, do you know where the wild roses grow, so sweet and scarlet and free?
I nodded my head as I lay on the bed.
They call me the wild rose.
For my name was a lazy day.
And I kissed her goodbye, said all beauty must die, and I leant down and planted a rose. Why they call me it I do not know.
For my name was a lazy day.
Alrighty, so that was track number 12, Where the Wild Roses Grow. And they had Nick Cave singing on the song, which I didn't think they would. I don't know why, I just thought it would be Kylie singing the whole song, but it's really nice to hear Nick Cave's voice. And this is one of my favorite Kylie songs, even though it's technically a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds song. It's so haunted. It's a mood. This song is a mood. I'm just gonna say that. And obviously one of my favorite tracks on this album here. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, you cannot go wrong with the song or the way it was reworked. It's beautiful. It's amazing. So now we will move on to track number 13, Flower. Now this is interesting. I don't think I have ever heard the song Flower before. And I looked it up, and apparently the song was originally written for her 10th studio album X, but it did not make the final cut. So, this will be my first time listening to Flower, so I'm excited for this. Track number 13, Flower.
Wrapped in a blanket of hope, asleep in a bed of dreams. Not at all, for who knows which way the wind is gonna blow. Distant child, my flower, are you blowing in the breeze? As I breathe life into you, you amaze me. And I just let it sink, imagining I'm waiting for your gentle whisper. Distant child, my flower, hearts in the hands of time. Your love bleeds into mine. Distant child, my flower, are you blowing in the breeze? You amaze me. Distant child, my flower.
Yes. I adore that song. I really enjoyed it my first time listening to it, and I have to definitely listen to the original version. But this version, definitely one of my favorites on the album. It was so beautiful. I love the lyrics. Distant child, my flower, are you blowing in the breeze? Can you feel me as I breathe life into you? In the wild, my flower, somewhere in the desert haze, I know one day you'll amaze me. I love it. 10 out of 10, 50 out of 10, 5 million, gazillion, trillion out of 10. I love it so much. I'm overreacting. I don't care. Let's move on to track number 14, I Should Be So Lucky, which the original version of the song was the very first track off her very first album.
My imagination, there's no complication. My imagination, there's no hesitation. You fell in love with me, I'm in love with you. I should be so lucky, lucky. I should be so lucky in love. I would come running to give you
And that was track number 14, I Should Be So Lucky. The production and the orchestra on this song in particular just blew me away. This sounds like a song that could have been in a movie from the 1950s, the 1960s, 40s, whatever, some sort of musical from back then. It's a really good reworking of I Should Be So Lucky. It's amazing. I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite reworkings on the album so far, and it's bliss, it's beautiful, it's fantastic. It almost took me back in time for a second to the 1950s or 40s. Obviously, I'm not from that time period, but it still took me back. I mean, maybe I am from that time period. Maybe I'm a time traveler. Which wouldn't really make sense because aren't time travelers from the future and then they come to the past? It's not usually people from the past coming to the future. Okay, well, you know I need to wrap up a video when I start talking about time traveling. I mean, I only have 2 tracks left, so I feel like it's time to wrap up this video. I'm running out of things to say. Okay, let's move on to track number 15, Love at First Sight.
Thought that I was going crazy. Just having one of those days, yeah. And everything went from wrong to right, and the stars came up and filled out the sky. The music you were playing really blew my mind, baby. When I heard you for the first time, I started running out of love. It was love at first sight, baby. When I heard you for the first time, I knew we were meant to be as one. Everything went from wrong to right. Ooh, it was love at first sight. I heard you. It was love, it was love.
Alrighty, so that was track number 15, Love at First Sight. And I feel like this song did what Can't Get You Out of My Head didn't do, because both tracks were from the same album, Fever, Can't Get You Out of My Head and Love at First Sight. I feel like this song sounded better as a reworking than Can't Get You Out of My Head. And I liked it. It was cute, I will say. It put me in a good mood, and I liked it. It was a bit basic, I will say, but I still enjoyed the reworking nonetheless, and it put me in a good mood, so I liked it. So let's move on to the final track of the album, ladies and gentlemen. Track number 16, Never Too Late. Which I feel like is the underlying message behind this album, at least for me it is, because initially I didn't want to record this video. I was going to listen to this album off camera, but then you guys changed my mind. I changed my mind, I had second thoughts, and you are never too late to change your mind and do something that you were always meant to do. I was always meant to do a reaction to this video, and here I am. Track number 16, Never Too Late.
Why can't you see without you? And in my heart, I will forgive you. It's never too late to change your mind. There's no place.
Alrighty, so that is the final track of the album, Never Too Late. Now, I love the original version of this song, Never Too Late. This version, though, was... it kind of broke my heart. She sounded very emotional in it, and it got me a little, I was on the verge of getting teary-eyed, I won't lie, and it's a bittersweet way to wrap up this album, and I liked it. It's a very tender song, and it got me all ooey gooey inside. Ooey gooey inside, that's so kind of wrong. Anyway, that is the conclusion of the Abbey Road Sessions by Kylie Minogue, and I am so happy I recorded a video to this album. I feel like if I listened to this album on my own, and I did record it, and if I just listened to this album on my couch or in my bed, I feel like I would have the same experience as when I'm filming. And I'm finding that to be a common theme, where I feel like listening to an album for the first time just isn't the same when I'm not recording, and I definitely have to record my first reaction to an album because it's just not the same. If I listen to an album for the first time, I'm just laying on my couch or on my bed somewhere in the car. It's just not the same. I want to share my excitement with you guys. I want to share how I feel about a song or an album for the first time with you guys. So that's why I love filming these first listen videos. And I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Definitely quite a few of these tracks I would go back to. There were definitely a few misses. There were some that I feel like didn't work well as a reworking. But I understand why she put them on the album because it's essentially her greatest hits from the last 25 years. I wish she would have had a Breathe from Impossible Princess. I guess she came to the conclusion that it wasn't eligible to be reworked, that it would sound good reworked. I don't know, maybe she felt like it wasn't that strong of a song, so she didn't put it on this album, which is a little disappointing, but she has most of her best hits on here, so I'm happy with that. And I've loved almost all the songs on here, all the reworkings. Her voice sounds pure and better than ever, and the production, the orchestra is very beautiful. I love listening to this sort of music. It's very grand in scale.